Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we are going to take a little look at some of the new stuff for Codex Necrons. The Codex is on its way, and as such we have, of course, some hints, some teasers, a little bit of preview action on the community site, and the most important one being the new Reanimation Protocols, which we are going to get straight into because it's a bit different to what it was before. It's also quite the wall of text. I wouldn't say... I'd probably say unnecessarily so. It's been worded in such a way to try and remove any ambiguity. It is, of course, another attempt to prevent that guy nonsense that might be seen at tournaments. There has definitely been a significant impact of the tournament scene on the wording of rules in this edition, I think it's fair to say. The dense cover segment really reflected that. This is, I guess, a similar example. Nowhere near as bad, but I've seen a few people find this difficult to comprehend, and I honestly can't blame them because it's laid out really badly. So what I'm going to be doing for this is essentially skipping over a couple of things so that they can be put in more relevant areas. So the last sentence of the second paragraph, I'm going to be moving to the end of this explanation, and the bullet points, one of which has not been formatted incorrectly, oh dear, will also be moved to the end because it helps it flow better and it makes it far more comprehensible. Again, it's just laid out kind of bad. So, each time an enemy unit shoots or fights after it makes its attacks, if any models in this unit were destroyed as a result of those attacks, but this unit was not destroyed, this unit's reanimation protocols are enacted, and those destroyed models begin to reassemble. Example being, unit of intercessors shoots at a unit of, say, 20 warriors. They roll to hit, they roll to wound, you do your armor saves, and 6 warriors are down, then you do your reanimation protocol rolls. Each time a unit's reanimation protocols are enacted, make reanimation protocol rolls for that unit by rolling a number of d6 equal to the combined wounds characteristics of all the reassembling models. Each reanimation protocol roll of 5+ is put into a pool. If the number of dice in that pool is greater than or equal to the wounds characteristic of any of the reassembling models, select one of those models to be reanimated. You then reduce the number of dice in that pool by a number equal to the wounds characteristic of the reanimated model, and repeat this process until either there are no more reassembling models, or the number of dice remaining in the pool is less than the wounds characteristic of any of the reassembling models. Any models that did not reanimate fail to reassemble, and any dice remaining in the pool are discarded. A reanimated model is added back to its units with its full wounds remaining, can only set up within engagement range of enemy units that are already within engagement range of the reanimated model's unit, cannot, if it is your charge phase, be set up closer to any enemy units that are targets of a charge declared by its unit this phase, no longer counts as having been destroyed for the purposes of morale tests this turn. So, the important thing to note is that it is no longer a case of rolling a d6 for a model, it is a case of rolling a d6 for the number of wounds. So if you've got 6 warriors down, you'll be rolling 6d6 because combined they have 6 wounds. If you lose a couple of, say you lose 2 wound models, you'll be rolling 4d6. You will not be rolling 2d6 because it is not based off the number of models, but the number of wounds that they have. I actually quite like this. I think it's laid out in the wrong order, which is why I changed it, because it just makes it slightly easier to get your head round when you haven't got bits of information that aren't strictly... Well, I mean, they're relevant because they're all part of the rule, but they are inserted in weird ways that get in the way of the flow of it and make it harder to pass. So for multi-wound models, this isn't great because it reduces the chance of getting them back. Because you are doing it based off wounds, not off model count, that means that if you have a unit of 2 wound models, you are going to have to be rolling way better, because instead of rolling 1d6 to bring your lad back, you have to roll, say, if they've got 2 wounds, 2d6. That obviously, the chances of that are lower than if it's just 1 dice. So for multi-wound models, that's not great. It's a bit of a nerf in that respect. For single wound models, it's, as far as I can tell, pretty much the same. If anything, it might be a bit more helpful in terms of placement and deciding who comes back where. So it seems kind of better and worse. It's a bit clunky the way it's worded, but it's also worded in such a way to try and make sure that you can't misconstrue it and you can't faff around trying to get an advantage out of it. They've tried to make it clear, which it technically is, but the layout is not great. Really not great, if you ask me. It just doesn't flow very well. Makes it harder to understand when actually it's pretty simple. It's not a complex rule. They're doing that thing again. They're doing that thing where I think they get people to write them and then they don't proofread them or show them to enough outside people first. They don't have someone sit down and go, okay, but what if we reorganize this so that like relevant information was kept together so that it flowed directly from, you know, the status of something to the next condition of something, rather than just going, okay, well, we need to say that the reanimation protocol can never be modified by more than -1 or +1, so we'll just stick that in the middle of the information about how the models come back. Like, it's just badly laid out. But overall, I don't mind it, to be honest. I did initially think it just felt like a clunky feel no pain with extra steps, but I think they're trying to make it a bit different to that, and it definitely is different. Whether it's like a genuine improvement, or whether it's just a kind of side grade for single wound models while being definitely worse for multi-wound models, I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But yeah, that is the new Reanimation Protocols. Let's take a look at some of the other stuff. So, something brand new for Necron Overlords to unleash upon the galaxy are command protocols. Before a game starts, you secretly assign one of 6 protocols to each of the first 5 battle rounds. Then when you reach the relevant battle round, you choose from one of the 2 directives associated with the protocol to be active for that round, and any unit within 6 inches of a Necron character can benefit from it. Oh, interesting. Okay. For example, you could select Protocol of the Sudden Storm to be active in Battle Round 4, which you could then use to make a last-minute dash to claim an objective, or perform an action and still use your ranged weapons. So, Directive 1 is add 1 to the move characteristic of models in this unit, and Directive 2 is if this unit is performing an action, it can still make attacks with ranged weapons without that action failing. Interesting. That's fun. Yeah, I quite like that. Yeah, so command protocols offer some exciting tactical options to your Necron's army, and they're flexible enough to ensure that there will always be a directive that you can take advantage of. Now we've got robotic reinforcements. The Cryptex have been busy, as there's tomb loads of new units for your Necron's army. Ha ha ha. They say the quantity has a quality of its own, and that's especially true when you come armed with 6 guns. Hexmark destroyers were once death marks, but now go into battle carrying multiple Enmitic Disintegrator pistols. So 18-inch range, pistol 1, strength 6, AP -1, damage 1. As if 6 shots isn't enough, they get to fire more when they take out an enemy model. So each time an enemy model is destroyed by a ranged attack made by this model's Enmitic Disintegrator pistols, after this model makes the rest of its attacks, it can shoot with one of its Enmitic Disintegrator pistols 1 additional time. These attacks cannot generate additional attacks. That's cool. I like that. That's nice and thematic and funky for a lad carrying 6 guns, which is still mental, by the way. What on earth? Like, whose idea was that? I want to buy them a drink. So the monolith, obviously not new, but it has got a new model and new fancy things to go with it. It's had enough of an improvement that Overlords will almost see it as new. So it has an additional 4 wounds, Jesus, but its weapons have also undergone an upgrade. There's even a new option, the Death Ray. We've gone full War of the Worlds. Mind you, that was the Heat Ray, wasn't it? So we've got Death Ray, range 24 inches, heavy 1, strength 9, AP -3, damage, D3 +3. Ouch. The Gauss Flux Arc, 30-inch, rapid fire 3, strength 5, AP -2, damage 1. Particle Whip, oh good old Particle Whip, 36-inch range, heavy D6, strength 12, AP -3, damage 3 and blast. Then Portal of Exile, which is melee, strength user, AP -3, damage 3. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, that attack automatically hits its target. That's kind of cool. So don't try and punch a monolith, it might just exile you to death, I guess? We also have the Catan Shard of the Void Dragon, which has got a movement of 8, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, strength 6, toughness 7, wounds 9, attacks 5, leadership 10, and a 3+ save. Cool. I'm liking the 2 pluses there. So it has Spear of the Void Dragon, which is either shooting or melee. Shooting is 12-inch range, heavy 1, strength 9, AP -4, damage 6. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, if a hit is scored, draw a straight line between the closest point of this model's base or hull and that of the closest model in the target unit. Make one wound roll against the target unit, and each other unit this line passes over. Each time an attack made with this weapon is allocated to a vehicle model, that attack has a damage characteristic of D3 plus 3. Okay, that's cool. That's funky. I quite like that. I quite like that. It feels a bit weird that it's like draw a straight line between the closest point of this model's base or hull. It's the Void Dragon. It's not got a hull. That's clearly because it's going to be used for other things. In fact, it may already be another thing, but I just can't remember what. But yeah, I do like that. That's cool. And then the melee is of course melee. Strength plus 3. What was the strength again? 7? 6, so 9 total. AP -4, and of course D6 damage again. And each time an attack made with this weapon is allocated to a vehicle model, that attack has a damage characteristic of D3 plus 3. So essentially, the Void Dragon doesn't like vehicles, is what we're learning here. The Void Dragon is also very difficult to kill, obviously. Necrodermis, it has a 4+ invulnerable save. In addition, this model cannot lose more than 3 wounds in the same phase. The Ghazghkull rule. Any wounds that would be lost after that point are not lost. I think it was Ghazghkull that introduced that, wasn't it? He was the one he was the test vehicle for the can't lose more than 3 wounds in the same phase approach. And then Matter Absorption. At the end of each phase, roll 1d6 for each enemy vehicle model destroyed as a result of an attack made by this model, or a town power used by this model that phase. For each 2+, this model regains 1 lost wound. To a maximum of 3 regained wounds per phase. That's pretty tasty, and definitely gives that theme of the Void Dragon really hating vehicles. Not a fan of vehicles. So much so that actually gains wound back for killing them. That's cool. I like that. That's awesome. So yeah, some pretty decent stuff in there. As I said, Reanimation Protocols, it's not particularly complex. It's just laid out in a rough way. What do you reckon? Good change? Bad change? Rubbish? Actually pretty decent? Better flavour? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things. Patreon video, subscribe, all that stuff. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you would like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.